Do you recall roughly what time Mr. Floyd would have arrived in the emergency room?
Approximately 8:55 p.m.
And when he arrived, then had CPR been started?
Yes.
Any mechanical devices or other things being used to help to stabilize it?
Yes, there was a Lucas CPR device, which is basically a mechanical device that sits across the body with something that almost looks like a plunger and pushes against the chest to provide CPR or chest compressions.
So this Lucas device then was on Mr. Floyd when he arrived in at the hospital.
Correct.
Did you ever observe at any point in time that his heart was beating on its own?
Not to a degree sufficient to sustain life.
Did the paramedics who arrived at the emergency department give you a report?
They did.
Do you recall what they said for purposes of treating Mr. Floyd?
I do. The report they gave us is that they were called to a scene of someone who was suffering from a medical emergency. As I recall, and this is what I was told at the time, they were initially called for a lower type of acuity event of facial trauma, and then that was upgraded to an individual in distress. They reported that on their arrival, the individual did not have a pulse and CPR was started. They placed an eye gel, which is a supraglottic airway device. It's basically
A super what?
Supraglottic airway device. It's just a sort of a tube that goes down into the throat and can ventilate the lungs. And then they gave medications, including epinephrine and sodium bicarbonate, to try to resuscitate Mr. Floyd as CPR was ongoing.
Did they tell you that Mr. Floyd was in police custody?
They did mention that he was being detained at the time.
Now, did you recognize either one of the